Good afternoon, students. Welcome back to English session. In the previous session, we have discussed about on saying please, right? So, till 8th paragraph, what did we discuss? Saying please, sorry, right? They are not actually by law. They are not mandatory by law, but they display the culture of a man, right? Whether the man is civilized or not, we'll come to know, right? From the way the person speaks, isn't it? So the author Gardiner already had described his experience with the conductor, right? Two types of conductors. In the earlier experience, the conductor was a very, cheerful, he was helpful, friendly, who offered him to help to buy the tickets. Author already had forgotten his wallet, I mean his money at home, and he was ready to help him. And when the author asked him how he could repay him, then the conductor told him not to worry, since whenever they would meet, he could repay him. But in the second example, the conductor is bit mischievous, who is wearing a very heavy boots and he's trampling, I mean crushing his fingers, right? Toes of author. Author is getting a lot of pain. And when author looked up and asked him, "What are you doing, man?" Then he said, "I'm just doing what the passengers do with me." So this is just like a taking revenge, which is not actually a good manner, right? How people behave with you, can you behave with the different people? You cannot, right? Because for a conductor the experience would be always not always good. There may be some bitter experiences for the conductors, so it doesn't mean that they will behave rudely with all the people, because there would be good people, right? Like Gardiner, who is our narrator. So let us continue from the ninth para. What struck me particularly was the ease with which he got through his work. Actually, okay, the conductor was not good mannered, but I like the way he is working. He's very comfortably, he is taking revenge. Right? Very easily he is working. If bad manners are infectious, so also are good manners. What do you mean by this? Bad manners infect the other people's lives. It is like infectious disease. In the last session we have discussed. If a particular person is showing bad manners, that will ultimately affect so many lives, isn't it? In the same way, similarly, you can say good manners also are infectious. They will definitely affect many lives. If a particular person is doing good to you, you will do good to other, and the chain of doing good will spread, continuously. Right? Good and bad manners. Try to distinguish, my dear friends. So you might have been hearing right from your birth about the good manners, about the bad manners. Your teachers, your parents, and even society members keep reminding you about the good manners, and they always focus the youngsters to follow them, isn't it? If we encounter incivility, most of us are apt to become uncivil, but it is usually an uncouth person who can be disagreeable with sunny people. Children, what do you mean by uncouth person? Right? Uncouth means a person with rude behavior. Yes? So, if we see incivility, encounter means come across. Any incivility means impoliteness, rudeness of behavior. So we are doing the same with that person. We are accepting it immediately. But it is unusually an uncouth person who can be disagreeable with sunny people. Sunny means cheerful people. But there will be people who are very dishonest. So they do not agree with the sunny people. Sunny means cheerful, honest people. Right? It is with manners as with the weather. Even same thing happens with manners also in weather. We don't accept, we don't agree with other people, right? As far as the manners are concerned or weather is concerned, isn't it? Nothing clears up my spirit like a fine day, said Keats. Do you know who is Keats? John Keats, one of the greatest poets. What he said, nothing clears up my spirit like a fine day, right? So what is important? A fine day is important. That will clear your spirits. If your day is not good, you will be all troubled with a lot of problems, right? And a cheerful person descends on even the gloomiest of us with something of the benediction of the fine day. And what does Keats had already said? If a person is cheerful, if the person is happy, he can even descends. Descends means he brings down. A gloomiest person means saddest person. Write down the words, difficult words. Gloomiest means saddest person. And descends means brings down. You know that ascend and descend. Ascend means grow. Descend means brought down. Even a cheerful person can make the sad person happy, right? Gloomiest means saddest of what, with something of the benediction means blessing of a fine day. If a person is blessed with a fine day, his blessing ultimately is transferred to other people, isn't it? So you are happy, you are making other people happy. If you are sad, you are ultimately making other people sad. And so it was always fine, whether on the polite conductor's bus and his own civility, his conciliarity, right? Conciliarity means calmness, goodwill. Write down that word. Conciliarity means calmness, goodwill. Address and good calmness, address and good humored bearing infected his passenger. And children, the author is much more sure about the conductor who is very polite in his behavior. Definitely his passengers will be happy with him, because he is spreading positivity, and when he is positive, when he is hopeful, he can make the people happy, positive, those who come in contact with the person. So this is a best example the poet author has given. In lighting their spirits, he lightened his own task. His gaiety was not wasteful luxury but a sound investment. Gaiety means happiness. Children, when you are doing really a good job, you are making other people happy, and your task is also lightened. Your task is also shines, right, like the sun. You become skillful when you are doing very politely, happily. When you are doing any job, you become expert in that work. When you are doing a job unwillingly, you will never become a master in any profession. So you need to be very positive, you need to be very, what I say, happy, willing, volunteer. There are so many words, right? So the happiness would be not a wasteful luxury but a sound investment. And whenever you are doing something special for the people, that is not for them but that is your investment, that will be coming back to you again with lot of interest, right? So friends, so whenever you are doing good to the people, that good will come back to you. Whenever you are doing bad to the people, the bad too comes back to you on one or the other day. So, sorry, this is a type of investment. This is a type of investment you are making in your life. So your good manners is your good investment, your bad manners is your negative investment. That will trouble you a lot. So let us decide what we can invest, good or bad. 10th paragraph. It is a matter of general agreement that the war has had a chilling effect upon those little everyday civilities of behavior that sweeten the general air. So, what does the author say? It's a matter of general agreement that the war has had a chilling effect upon those little everyday civilities. Civilities means politeness of behavior that sweeten the general air, right? So this politeness will definitely make our life happy. So the people around us will enjoy our company when we are sweet in behavior. So the general air will be not polluted. So everybody will like your presence. Everybody will be impressed by you. So this is the benefit of this civilities. Civility means politeness, courtesy. We must get those civilities back if we are to make the life kindly and tolerable for each other. And when children, what is the true, key of success for the people? We must be very much tolerable for each other. We must consider other people's opinions. And when we are tolerable for each other, then everything will be very fine, everything will be very smooth, right? We cannot get them back by invoking the law, and every time if we are provoking the law, nothing is possible, because all the things cannot be controlled by law. There are some things that are controlled by our manners, our civilities, our positivity, our politeness, right? And not the law all the times. The policeman is a necessary symbol, and the law is a necessary institution for a society that is still somewhat lower than the angels. Children, policeman is a symbol of strictness, discipline, and law is necessary institution for society. Policeman is required, laws are required, but every time the police and law cannot protect us. So we have to be self-dependent. We have to inculcate good habits. We have to use please, thank you, sorry words, and we have to make the living more comfortable, more pleasant, more tolerable for each other. That is the only way we can help each other and live a better life, right? But the law can only protect us against material attack. Law can protect you from material attack. What's about your inner attack? Your feelings are hurt, you're sad, so many things will be there in your life. So who will help you? The people will help you. Your manners will help you, and not the law all the times. Law will help you against material attack, nor will the lived man's way of meeting the moral affront. Affront means insult. By physical violence, help us to restore the civilities. And what did the lift man did? The lift man threw him out. That was a very actually wrong action of him. And because of that, he lost his job. So everyone should not behave like the lift man. We have to behave very politely to the people. We can ask them if we don't like their behavior. We can ask them to change politely. I suggest to him that he would have had a more subtle. What do you mean by subtle? Subtle means cleverly, right? He would have more subtle restore the civil. I suggest him that he would have had a more subtle and effective revenge if he had treated the gentleman who would not say please with elaborate politeness. Children, the liftman made really a mistake. He should not have thrown him out of the lift. He would have at least asked him to say please. There would have been other ways. Elaborate means very broad politeness. Elaborate, write down the word. Very broad. He would have had the victory not only over the boor. Boor means rude person, but over himself, and that is the victory that counts. Children, many a times when you are reacting on the people's behavior, it doesn't mean that you win. You can even win the rude person. Boor means rude person, the one who was there in the lift. Actually, the lift man would have forgiven, he would have convinced him, then it would have been the victory of not only on the boor but also on himself, right? And that victory is count. Your real victory is when you are polite, not when you are angry. The polite man may lose the material advantage, but he always has the spiritual victory. Polite person may lose his benefits. Material means money he may not get, but he is spiritually happy. And what is the real happiness? Your happiness of your mind is the real happiness, not the monetary happiness. Monetary means related to your money. I comment to the lift man a story of Chesterfield. In his time, the London streets were without the pavements of today, and the man who took the wall had the driest footing. Children, actually, he is recommending one story to the liftman, that the liftman must read the story of Chesterfield. Right? It is London story. In London streets were without pavements. Pavements means that where the passerbys walk of today, and the man who took the wall had the driest footing. I never give the wall to a scoundrel, said a man who met Chesterfield. One day in the street. I always do, said Chesterfield, stepping with a bow into the road and hope the liftman will agree that his revenge was much more sweet than if he had flung the fellow into the mud. My God. See, just children, it's a best example. Chesterfield is not a simple, he's a nobleman, right? And whenever a time in London streets were without pavement, was not there. In his time, London streets were without the pavements of today, and the man who took the wall had the driest footing, right? I never give the wall to a scoundrel, said a man who met Chesterfield. The man who came there and he said, I will never give a wall to the scoundrel. Scoundrel means a mean person, dishonest person. But Chesterfield, what he said, I always do, but I am giving, right? That is a quality of a greatness. I am giving a wall even to a scoundrel. Who said that? Chesterfield, isn't it? So, children, then you will come to know that I hope the liftman will agree that his revenge was much more sweet than if he had flung the fellow into the mud. And then, after reading this story, the liftman will definitely come to know that he would have taken a revenge. How he would have taken a revenge? He would have rather threw the person in the mud instead of throwing him out of the uh, lift, right? Because there are different ways of treating the people. Author does not mean that one should do like this actually. This is what Gardiner wanted the people to follow. Courtesy, politeness are the things, they really are very, very important, right? So, friends, this is a story of being polite, saying please, right? Let us discuss the question answers. Answer the following questions in a word, a phrase, or a sentence. Why was the passenger thrown out of the lift? It's a very simple question. The passenger was thrown out of the lift because he did not say please to the liftman. Second, what would happen if we were given the liberty to box people's ears? What would happen, children? There would be, the author has said, there will be, our fists would never be idle. Page number 128, first paragraph. Our second last line, our feasts would never be idle and the gutters of the city would run with blood all day. You can explain also in your own words, right? What according to the author is difference between physical pain and pain of the wound caused to one's self-respect? What is the difference? According to the poet, the physical pain will get cured after a short span of time, but the pain of the wound caused to one's self-respect will remain forever, isn't it? And that is very hard to tolerate. Also, the person can tolerate the physical pain, but tolerating the pain to one's self-respect is always difficult. That's it. Fifth question. What is the first and the most important requirement of civility? What is the most important requirement of civility? Civility means, tell me. Civility means politeness. And what is the first requirement of it? So, you also can find the answer of this question, because see, everything, if you depend on every question on the teacher, that's very difficult. So civility's first requirement was voluntariness, right, by our own, right? It should not be forced one. It should be natural. What did the polite conductor do for the author? Obviously, the polite conductor helped him to buy the ticket, who had come without money, right? Who had tramped on author's sensitive tone? The conductor, isn't it? The conductor had tramped on the author's sensitive toe. Next question, the polite conductor left the blind man at the bus exit, told Bill to take him across the road, told Bill the driver to wait and took him, or forced him out of the bus. What did he do? You can write the answer of it, right? You read the text and you have to write. Why was there a very fine weather on the polite conductor's bus? Always because he was very cheerful, he was very polite, full of, yes, civilities, isn't it? Right. So 10th 11th you can even write the questions by yourself, isn't it? Discuss the following questions in a group and answer. Can law enforce civility? How? You can explain in a paragraph these questions. How does bad temper affect one's life? Discuss the importance of effect on good manners. List out the instances in which the polite conductor showed his civil behavior. Do you approve of his behavior? Why? This is a personal response type question. You should better attempt it yourself. How could the liftman take a polite and effective revenge? Right? Suggest a way to do. You imagine that you are a liftman. You suggest proper way. Is it easy to be civil at all times, Spirit? Do you agree with? Is it possible that you should be always polite? There will be certain examples, certain moments in your life that it is not possible to be polite, right? If you are asked to recall a day in your life, you would perhaps remember both the good and the bad days, right? What do you think makes you recall both the good and the bad? Describe the people who you think were responsible for the same. Write one good experience and one bad experience, and who are the people because of whom you had the good and bad experience. Write down. Children, there are synonyms of the word uncivil, right? Adair, right? Pendium, Stolny, Sumer, or Orthnic, Caucidus, guitar, robo. These are the meaningful words. Actually, these are jumbled ones. You cannot read them. They are jumbled. So you have to arrange them and you have to make the correct words. How will you make? Right? So try all these words in your fair book. Guess the words that could be used for a person with good manners. There are some letters are given. You can also do this. Grammar and usage is also there. Identify the main clause and subordinate clause. All these things we'll study in the next. Grammar and usage will continue in the next session. You attempt all the question answers, right? Read the extract once, twice, thrice until you understand. Okay. Thank you for watching my video. Have a good day.